And then we relate social status to marriage Islamically. Then we talk about where we are now and how we got to where we are. And from there, we take a look at how we can get out. Thereafter, we conclude. Permit me to start by saying which is of priority, social status or marriage. Social status, like we all know, is based more importantly on perceived value. It's about value placed by a group of people in a particular society, in a nation, an organization, what have you, what have you. And it has to do with individual relative rank, even among these people generally. It is about social hierarchy, even here around us, we talk of the top class, the middle class, uh, the low class. And it has to do with honor and prestige. It affects people interaction and perception of one another. The way we relate to ourselves tell us how we have classified ourselves, which class does this person belong to, and what have you. And then it influences one's self-esteem and identity. The higher we think your status is, the better your self-esteem. And of course, you identify yourself as somebody who should be reckoned with. And that is how the society we live in see you. In modern times, social status has to do with your income, how huge or big your income is perceived to be. May not even be the exact thing that you are collecting or you are making or you are earning that people are looking at, but they can just put you in a class and say, because you belong to this class, you own as much as this income. Some of the times, it's about the occupation, the profession that you belong to. Like you will all agree with me. All of us, most of us, on this call are majorly professionals. We have the profs, we have the accountants, we have the engineers, we have the medical doctors. Name any profession, we have the lawyers. Name any profession, we are all here, and we are all perceived to be elite in our own right. Today again, excuse me please, somebody's presence and followership in the social digital world is part of the asset. It makes you to be socially up there at the middle or at the low end. These days, people make fortune just by the fact that they are on the LinkedIn, and here they are. It has to do with tech. Ordinarily, a person inherits his or her original or primary status from his or her parent, especially the father. Yoruba land, they say, when they are saying that is about the father, it's about the father. And then the higher your father's status, your status will be perceived to be. And that's why, like Imam used to say, our own children are perceived as children of high-class professionals. Because of this, the status or even surpass it. Of course, we know that in life, some people work against their perceived status. I mean, the likes of the people in the garage, all this Agbira and Omota, some of them actually come from well-to-do, high-class people, and yet they have chosen to drop out of education, and of course, they have chosen to diminish ordinarily their status. Permit me to remind us all that Nigeria is a certificate-oriented nation. When we talk about education, most of the time we are referring to the Western education. Many a time, the other ones are not readily given credence to, and it's one of the reasons why we are where we are today in Islam. It is also recognized that we all belong to different levels, different categories when it comes to social status. It is recognized that we all do not belong to just one social status. And so it is recommended that for the girl child, it pays her to marry from within the status of her father, of her parents, especially the father, or at least somebody that is higher, so that she can either maintain her status or that status is even further enhanced by a marriage to somebody that is higher than her in status. In the same vein, the man is encouraged to marry somebody of lower status, so that when he now works on that person, the person comes up as to be on the same status level with him, or at best, let him marry from within his status. A situation where the marriage is like the lady is coming from a status higher than that of the man. Most of the time, it brings about challenges. Of course, I recall that it has been part of our discussions that usually it takes men to get there. That at the initial stage, the men are usually of the lower status, even when they seem to have come from the same status. Like we are talking of a graduate getting married to another graduate, the two of them coming from professional parents. At least they have to build their own status too somehow. They already have something that they are inherited. But most of the time, it takes the man longer time to get there than the woman. But that is still a better situation than a situation where the lady comes from a much higher status, and then when the two of them are now even working, she keeps growing at a pace that is higher than that of the husband, and this brings about a lot of challenges within the marriage. We are all conversant with what marriage is about in Islam. In fact, those of you that are here even know about it more than I do. It's an institution that is ordained by Almighty Allah. We're all very familiar with Quran chapter 4, verse 3, where Allah says, marry 2, 3, 4, 5. Of course, it started by talking about the orphan girls, and then where you fear injustice, marry whoever at the end of the day want to choose. And if you fear that you will not be able to be just amongst women, then just stay to one of them. We are very much familiar about that. Of course, we know in Islam too that we are taught that marriage completes your faith because it's seen as half of faith. Of course, in Islam, it's an institution that the Prophet ﷺ says is an institution, is our institution, and whoever does not believe in it is not one of us. That's to tell you how important marriage is in Islam. Of course, we are not unfamiliar with that other hadith that says the best gift that a man can have is a virtuous wife. So talking about marriage in Islam. Then the other hadith that says the best of you is he who is best in character to his wife or wives. So you understand where I'm coming from, that there is no doubt about the fact that marriage is very, very important to us as Muslims. And I move on to say, a marriage between social status and marriage is therefore a possibility. Recall that I established that Islam recognizes differences in our social status. Islam equally establishes marriage. So it means, therefore, that the two of them can be married. I mean, social status and marriage. Of course, what we are talking about now is which one should take precedence over the other one. I take you to Melbourne at our own time, in our days at MSS. The basis of our choice is religiosity. How religious is the lady or the man? We never cared about the social status many times. It was not that important to us. The religiosity is the one that is very important, especially when we will have been fed with the idea that the Prophet said, if you want to marry a woman, look at four things. The nobility, all of those things. But that the one that is most important is piety. And of course, we held on very strongly to that in our days of MSF. That was why most of us married from within the MSF. And we were going like that, goshu, with all of the training that we were given. We did not even bother to know. We didn't know. And we didn't bother to know anything about blood group and or genotype. It was just the design of Almighty Allah that those things did not in themselves affect us too negatively. Of course, a few of us pray to the fact that you now find at the end of the day an AS getting married to an AS. And they were not particularly scared of the challenges attached to such a union. Of course, we equally had situations. I know a couple, a contemporary couple, where the two of them are AS, and I think they have 3 children. All of them are AA. It doesn't come out that way most of the time, unlike today, that we are all exposed to knowledge. Of course, the more you know these days, the more challenges you have faced. The more information you have about life, the more challenged you are as an individual. Except if you can positively internalize your knowledge and be able to put them to practice as much as possible. But I tell you, that is not the situation now. Today we are parenting, we are talking about 2 sets of people that we are parenting. We are talking about the millennial, those born and their children. We are talking about children. I'm saying we have 2 sets of children. By virtue of those of us that are on this call, some of us have our children as millennial. This 1981 to 1996 children who somewhat are close to us, the old school. The way you will handle the matter relating to the millennial quite differs from the way we will handle it. Hence, I'm dividing us into 2 and perhaps to be able to take everybody along. My dear brothers and sisters in Islam. Of course, for our millennial children, the basis of the kind of education that we gave to them was from where we were coming. I recall that we were coming from, most of us were coming from polygamous setup, where if you're lucky, your father is very responsible, is paying your school fees, is giving you the meal, is giving you the accommodation, and those basic needs. The other things would necessarily have to be supported by your mother. And the mothers were working very hard, particularly to empower their girl children. Why? Because most of them felt that they were cheated, even by their own parents. I recall my mom would always say, if only she had gone to school and the madrasa, she would have been a lot better than even her brothers that went to schools and went to madrasa. But that the father refused to send her to school and madrasa because of that big saying that at the end of the day, she will end up in the house of another man and perhaps in the kitchen, most unfortunately. So when she was now to bring up her own children, particularly the girl children, she paid a lot of emphasis on educating them, empowering them educationally and professionally. And because that is the background that we are coming from, it was very easy for us to buy into it. We started by taking our children to nursery and primary school, trying to combine that with madrasa. Whereas some of us, their parents were so lucky, some of us were so lucky with their parents, those who came from homes, like the fathers especially, were very, very knowledgeable Islamically. They started them off with madrasa. Some of them were at kí ló máa ń fa madrasa yìí ní orúkọ ńlá tó máa ń pè wọ́n ju kí la ti máa ń pè àwọn ilé kéwú ńláńlá yìí. I've forgotten the name now. They started by going to Arabic and Islamic studies. Some of them will spend like, they will be as old as 13, 14, 15 before going to secondary school at all. Some did not even go to secondary school. Finishing their classes at their schools, take them to higher thing, and most of them coming across with education went through GC. Very few of them went to secondary school. Whereas those of us from, parents that do not really have that kind of insight, knowledge into the religion, were emphasizing Western education. So we were equally influenced by our own background and trying to set up something. And so we started taking our children to schools where Western education will most likely be given to. Even those who their parents sent to madrasa and all of these Islamia schools in their early ages too, were trying to compete with the other ones, and the priority was for them to send their children to Western-oriented schools. At best, they will say they're taking them to Muslim schools or Islamic schools, where the Islamic education will just be an adjunct to the basic Western education that they're trying to give to these children. Again, at that time, at our time as we were growing, in some instances, the children will be exposed. They go to these Western-oriented schools from Mondays to Fridays, and then 2 or 4 hours on Saturdays and Sundays will be the time for them to go to Arabia. Then we do alcohol, or what we call Israel, at various schools, especially at weekends. That is the kind of background that we had. We had that background, and it was actually following us about. And so our emphasis was on empowering our children, especially our girl children. And this gave our girl children very high level of social status. You find at our time, generally we find a family without a medical doctor child, a lawyer, an engineer, an accountant, and so on and so forth. And you find them in our girls, and the women too were working hard to put a lot of pressure on expected skills with a view to preparing them for the future. And basically, we thought we were preparing them for marriages without much training for the boys that they are going to get married to. These boys lacked a lot of normal education. They too, they went to schools, they had their education too, they had their degree. But you find that most of the time, the ladies were even doing better than they are at their various schools, the millennia. So when it was time for them to settle down, our children, especially our girl children, settling down for anything that came in the name of Muslim men that were not well groomed. And then we started having problems. There's a problem of complex. This men started having inferiority complex. Sometimes they have mixed complex. They know that within them they feel inferior to their partners, but they want to say because of their Rijalu Kawam Ala Nisai that they are superior, and you see them acting the two ways, bringing a lot of confusion into the own self. And what do you see? Divorce, high rate of divorce of our millennial. Hardly can you find a home from our sex that prevents the millennial where you have not had one form of divorce or the other. And majorly because of the over empowerment, so to say in quotes, that we are giving to these girl children, that has made them to be overtly independent of even any man ordinarily. So it was so easy for them. What is the wala? And you now find quite a number of them in single mothers because of this high sense of I can do without you. And, and that was it. By the time their younger ones came about, okay, in addition to these two, high level of independence, these high skills and high social class, the social media influence is there, where their contemporaries will come and tell lies about what is not. And they so much believe in themselves. In fact, they believe in these external teachers more than they will now come and believe in you, their parents, their direct parents. And then we have all of these problems with us. Just talking about our situation. Then come the Gen Z, their younger ones, the 1997 to 2012. We find them to uh, getting married. These ones are highly selfish by their nature. They are self-opinionated. They believe in themselves so much, and they believe that it's whatever they say, how they see things that they should do. Unfortunately, they chicken out very easily when they meet up with challenges. They're always very anxious at issues surrounding them, around and about them. They too get good jobs. They're there. They even work more on tech. You will see a medical doctor amongst them, and he will say he's working on high tech. He's doing one app. He's being part of the development of one app. He's all of this, and he's working from home, and he's earning fantastically. But the moment he or she runs into a small challenge, especially at work, you see them talking about mental disturbance, my mental health. No, I cannot cope. And so I want to. So the same way they complain about mental health in the offices, the same way they complain about mental health even in their marriages. So what should be our priority? We have seen situations where we made marriage our priority, like I own said. And of course, we know some of the challenges some of us had to face. Like I always tell people, even when we are playing, that the challenge of our own time about our marriage is about polygamy. And many of our men got the gist about polygamy wrongly. They did not understand the basic principles. They did not even understand the reasons. They did not even know how to go about it. And for me, I always say that whereas polygamy is supposed to provide solutions to some of our challenges, our men made them sources of challenges in themselves. And that is our own doing. Because of that, the millennial now came up with all those nonsense. No, no agree for any man, no agree for anybody. And the same thing goes for their younger ones, the Gen Z. These two sets are our children that we are talking about. So at our time, they believe that, well, you preferred marriage, you prioritize marriage to your social status. Because many of us, with due respect to those of you, our husbands around, many of us, ladies, married men that were lower status, that came from lower status parents than our own parents. When we said, it's about Islam, it's about Kinika, you look Papa marry, go matter. whether you are from Egba land and I'm from Ijebu land, or you are okay, wherever. What is important is that we are all Muslims. All of this, blah, 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 blah. Many a time we discovered that he did not pay us off. And these children saw all of them. And of course, if you have seen any problems from your parents, you want to shield yourself from the repeats of the thought. And that's why they made it very easy to get out of marriage, too easily. In their own case, too, we have seen the millennial preferring status, prioritizing social status in their marriages. And because they did that, it was very, very easy for them to chicken out of the marriage. Anytime they see that, what is it? No, no nonsense. I won't take any nonsense. Or some of them will even wait years when they are still accumulating certificates to become a PhD this, medical doctor this. In fact, their contemporary men were no longer there for them to marry. And, they were readily, easily married to some of these men older than they are, or who do not understand polygamy. So rather than assisting these children to get better in life, it creates more problems for us as a society. What is our challenge with the Gen Z? They are now afraid to get married. Why? Because they have seen those that gave priority to marriage, and they have seen a lot of failures here and there. They have seen the other ones who gave priority to social status, and they are not finding it funny. So they get afraid. Very few of them are ready to go into marriage. And many, when we come to this and we are discussing, I say, this is a big problem at hand for us parents. So what should we do? And how do we do it? And say, what we need to do is to marry both social status with marriage. And for me, Islam says it's a possibility. Let's get engaging these children with facts, with knowledge, with skills. Káyé parọ́, káyé tàn wọ́n, and be ready to discuss with them. They're adults too, so that they get to understand many things and they will not run away from the fact of life. Marriage is a fact of life. Social status is a fact of life. One ordinarily should not disturb the other. The two of them can be married together to get a very good life here on earth. We all know that marriage is supposed to provide companionship, and like Imam will always say, is the basis for conjugal relationship. Conjugal relationship puts a lot of life and health into the life of the two people, the two partners. And when you have life and health, you're able to do other things. Engage in professional activities and whatever. Then you're able to live well and be able to serve Allah. Do not forget that Almighty Allah told us that He created first and foremost to come and worship Him. But unless and until we're able to get all of these things right and put them in their right perspective, we will not be able to worship Almighty Allah effectively. We need to consciously marry knowledge, to constantly engage these children, to constantly put ourselves forward or ready to discuss and engage. Of course, I know that to stem the tide of divorce, some of the organizations, including my organization, do arrange premarital counseling, even post-marital counseling for these children. And even at that, it's something that we need to get a very large scale, that we should all be conscious of. We are supposed to make sure that we provide these children with the right interpretation of the provisions of the religion. Like we always say, Islam is a complete way of life. and it has provisions for virtually every aspect of our life. But unfortunately, our old fans will interpret the portions of the Quran to suit their own purposes, and that has brought us to where we are. Whereas many times that I listen to Imam here, I will marvel and wonder whether this should not be for the whole of the country, all the Muslims in Nigeria, not just less than 100 people listening to him. Because most of the time, you'll agree with me, his perspective is realistic, is radical, is dynamic, and is always a basis for food for thought. But how many of us are here? Well, what we can do is to continue to propagate that which is good. Our younger ones, we need to do more in ensuring that we let them know that it is possible to still be there socially by belonging to high social class status and at the same time be a successful married person so that the whole world, our society will be the better for it. Of course, we always say it. The families make up society, society make up. We all know all of these stories that we talked about. And at the end of the day, we group ourselves into a nation. But the challenges that we keep facing because we are not addressing our issues properly, it's not making us to be able to progress as necessary. Let Allah continue to guide us, and I want to leave room for a robust discussion. Whichever one I've said that sounds good, is from Almighty Allah. Whichever one that sounds stupid is from me as a person. Please forgive me for whatever shortcomings that I was getting myself into. We continue to let and make our lives better. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Jazakallah khair Sarama. Alhamdulillah, I think we have been richly enlightened. We pray to Almighty Allah to bless our mama. Alaja Oluwafuyi. Ìwọ̀n yóò níjọba lágbára Ọlọ́run. Ọlọ́run á jẹ́ kẹ́ pẹ́ fún wa. Yes. In the last 40 minutes, we have been seriously and sincerely enriched. So, and I want to think we all enjoyed the presentation. Very thought-provoking. Let me give us the opportunity to enrich the discussion. Let us ask questions. Let us contribute. Let us seek clarification. Alaja, you have raised a lot of issues I don't want to repeat. But I have a question that you should note for an answer after people have contributed or asked their own clarification. You said we should engage our children. We should talk to them. How do we make this possible? How do we struggle to do this in the face of the fact that it appears that these days our children are not ready to talk to us? They avoid us. They are engaged with their phone. And like you have said, they behave as if they have everything to learn on the social media, that they are not lacking anything. How do we engage them? How do we talk to them? It appears they are not ready to talk to us. How do we navigate this? So kindly note that for a response. So please, people should, okay, Professor Idris Ayinde. Yeah, let me start with Professor Idris Ayinde. You can unmute and make your contribution or ask your question, please. Prof.
Okay. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Jazakumullahu khairan for the thought-provoking lecture. I'm sorry I arrived late, but I had sufficient information to enable me contribute or add to the question of the convener of the meeting, Engineer Abdulwasiu. To just advance forward the question he asked. In a situation where those who are knowledgeable in verse in the Quran, there's some Hafiz, you understand what I mean? So now they are tilted to the far left. Those who are not Hafiz, who have been exposed to other forms, other agents of information, are also tilted to the far right. And you as a parent, especially those of us who interact with them in the university, the conclusion with them is that àbáyọ ọ̀dà ń pẹ́ get nǹkan tẹ́ ń sọ pé ayé ń lọ ju bí ẹ ṣe ń visualize ẹ̀ lọ pé no, they want to express themselves, but most of the time, alhamdulillah for our children, all the same, I still know that there are challenges, but the other people's children, especially those whom you feel you want to mentor. We had a seminar for all our children one day, and we requested feedback, and majority of us were disappointed with the feedback they gave us, right on the spot, that what you are telling us is far behind our generation, that our own viewpoint is different from your own viewpoint. We are talking about education, how they will acquire enough education to be somebody in life. But we found out that the effort was in futility. But we know some people internalize. But the issue is that this is a general scenario. How do we want to go our way out of this as parents? Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, let's take that. Any other one, sir?
We have Global Amira. Global Amira. Quickly,
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
I personally want to thank my wife, and I join others too in thanking her. And I pray Almighty Allah will bless her. I count this as one of those things that would be worthy of Allah's abundant reward. Almighty Allah elongate her in goodness. She's been my wife since the 80s. Àjọṣe wa Ọlọ́run ni jó bàjẹ́, Ọlọ́run á jẹ́ aláṣepẹ́ ìdùnnú. Wala hawla wala quwwata illa billahi. Now, she has said a lot, but I want her to give us solutions. One has been said by our brother, the anchor. The other ones are one. How can we encourage them to make good use of the counseling, the marriage counseling? Because in most cases, they come when it is few weeks to their marriage. So by the time we engage them, even when you see red flags, it becomes very difficult for you to say, they cannot go ahead. Even the issue of genotype, when you see red flag, you have to manage it somehow. And we know the danger there. That is one. Secondly is that when we have lectures that could benefit them and you send it to them, you discover that they don't want to attend for whatever reason. It's like what you said, their mind is so made up, they know everything, and they believe their social media caucus knows everything. So how can we have a positive impact? Because now it is so saddening that divorce is even more than marriages. And it is an ill wind. The Almighty Allah save us from it. So please, these are my concern. The Almighty Allah grant you abundant blessings and reward every one of us here too. And ease our affairs and make these children coolness of our eyes and make them sources of peace and joy for us. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa barakatuh. Professor Nurat, you can quickly ask your question, make your contribution in 1 minute so that Elijah can respond. You can unmute.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Wa alaikum salam wa barakatuh.
I thank Allah for making today a success. And I also thank our grandma for this wonderful and enlightening session. My own is a form of question. The children we are bringing up are in the tech age. And when you try to bring up certain things to them, like this issue of marrying another a genotype that is not conforming with them, they try to tell you that this is era of technology, things have moved ahead, and so on like that. And likewise, when you are trying to tell them, okay, prioritize marriage above further study. I want to have my master's, I want to have this, I want to have that. And you are trying to explain to them that, okay, education comes first. But you know that you can a lè ti ẹṣin lọ́wọ́ ni a lè fipá fún mu omi. You can only sell your idea to them, but when it comes to marriage, that state of readiness must be there. So uh how do we cope, or how do we channel our grievances, our situations to them, to make them realize that even in the era of tech, some things relating to genotype can still cause problems. That's one. Two, how do we sell it to them that further studies, yes, but marriage is also important? Because they will tell you that marriage slows them down. That's the clause they use, the word they use. Thank you, ma.
Yes, Elijah, please respond to this set of questions or responses before we take
Thank you very much. I want to start with your own. How do we engage them? You said when you try to talk to them, they are usually not, they avoid us, in your own words. And I want to say, don't talk to them, discuss with them. Discuss with them. Lay the subject matter on the table. Let them be the lead discussant. Let them tell you what they see and how they see it. So you are putting them on the hot seat, not the other way around. You have always allowed them to put us on the hot seat. And if you're on the hot seat, it's not all the time that you'll be able to win. Tactically put them on the hot seat. Let them be the ones that will lead the discussion. So they are more or less, we are discussing with them. So after they will have told you their points of view, then you start asking questions. And then you'll be able to come. So if you think you want to talk to them, advise them. They already made up their mind that you are old school. Before you say anything, they say you are old school. And that, it was mentioned, that you are far behind whatever. So to really get them engaged is about you discuss, and then you want to move ahead of them. Some of these, their ideologies, you've got to know about them and be able to discuss them effectively with them. Unless you know where they are coming from, you may not be able to match them up. And once you're not able to match them up, so that's the way I see. Now, this office of the Quran to the extreme left and the extreme right people, those ones that are not, many times we pray. Prayer is very important for our children. In any of the situations, prayer is very, and when I say prayer, you pray for them behind them. You pray for them in their presence. When you are engaging them, when you are discussing with them, let prayer be so they will know. They know how you are thinking. They know where your own thoughts are going. And then you will see even from their body language, sometimes even from their response, okay, Adua, okay, But then you have spent some other subject. Before you even do your prayer, they say, mommy will say, yeah, mommy. But it will amaze you that some other time or sometime when they have challenges, it doesn't take them time to call you and say, mommy, please pray for me on this subject matter. Mommy, pray for me. I'm looking for answer. I want one that will be very useful to me. All these ones that have been coming and going, I'm tired of them. You know, as little as I'll say whatever, but because they have believed in you, that you pray a lot and that you will help them. So let them know that with you. This extreme right and extreme left thing, this thing is about discussion. Don't put up with the position that you know more than they do. In fact, try and say, well, for them, what they know it. So yeah, let me share from what you know. And then from there, we will build our discussions. But if you are saying, no, this is what I know, is what I will tell you. Sorry, you may not be able to get them. There's this feedback that they will say, oh, you are behind that generation. Oh. We want to express themselves, let them express themselves. When they express themselves, know where they are coming from. And don't argue with them. At the point they are expressing, is it? I can hear you. I can understand. And when you don't understand, ask a question. You come later with your own points. But then you are coming later with your own. They will be ready to listen. At that time that they are coming with their points, they are bent on saying, if it's an argument, we shall win you. And you to remember the Prophet says, discuss, but not argue. When a discussion has been generated into argument, each party is looking for a way to say, I'm the winner. And if you are trying to win by all means, it will not be very good for the two engaged, especially for this marriage counseling thing. Some of the times they do not make use of it. I think part of the things I will do is, on our part, let's try to sell this marriage counseling thing, more than what we are doing now. Let it be that we say, we expect you to go. We're thinking of settling down and all of this, so that at least we will have started something great before that day. This idea of they coming a week to the wedding day, like I said, like I've been truly. I recall that there was one counseling that we did about AS and AS. They never even bothered to do their test or whatever. But because we had time, they were looking at about 4 months to their Nikai at that time. Then we were to have 3 sections with them. And from the very first section, and they said, you can't know 1 year and years. The other one said, I never checked. And we concluded at the end of that session, go and check. The two of them went, and we asked them, it's better for two of you to check at the paper. They came back and gave us yes. We gave them the implications, and we asked them to go and think about it. But then they were coming for the third session. They themselves came up and said, but that was because it was not too close. Started about 4-6 months to the chosen date. Of course, they are chosen a date, but they have not gone, too far. So we should emphasize that there is need for us to start this marriage counseling thing on time, not the one that will not in any way be beneficial. Tabati still idea in our parents now, whom are dots or no, they let them know the importance. Now, sending lectures to them. They organize lectures for themselves by themselves. I missed one about 3 days ago. I don't know whether you are aware. This one that Dr. Adeoton organized is for them. And you have to pay. When we do our own lectures, we don't pay. It's free. And when you come for it, not only will you not pay, we even do entertainment for you, give you snacks or even food something, and give you drinks. In their own case, they pay to attend their class. So what I do is I pay with them too and attend the program. Then later we'll discuss about what they talked there. And I was not able to come and see me see trouble. I missed it because I thought it was I took it for the following day. It was supposed to be 3rd May. I didn't know I made Monday my own 3rd May. Whereas that 3rd May was supposed to be Sunday. So it was Monday that I wanted to do. And I opened my phone and I discovered that she was saying, you appreciate those of you that I say, hey, like you to miss the program on my. But don't miss it. When you are there, you're able to make your own point. When you are now with them, you see where what their thought is, how they are thinking. You go into their midst. That you want to throw it down their, you want to give it down to them. Let them come and tell them. And then you pick them up on it. About daily discuss.
Imam, all right, let's talk to Alaja out. We're already behind schedule. Imam, sir.
But I've sent a note. I've said that she may have to come back to address certain issues. Why are we not able to talk about children into proper marriage? Why are we finding it difficult to engage them, to have a conversation with them? I think the NC is on the platform. The NC can